Greetings and salutations from beautiful West Palm Beach, Florida. Brr, 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 brr. Welcome back to my channel. Designer clothing, frankly, can be quite expensive, with some pieces fetching as much as somebody's annual salary. Now, if you're watching this, I'm sure you watch other fashion YouTubers, and like me, you wonder how they afford all of this stuff. Well, I don't know anything about what they have going on, but what I can do is give you a few tips on how I shop for my designer pieces. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in order to make this accessible to people who may be less experienced with shopping for designer clothing, I'm going to be breaking this down completely. Now, if you're already kind of tapped in on how all these things work and you just want to kind of figure out maybe some of the places I go or maybe some of my pro tips, I do have down in the description timestamps so you can jump around to the very specific tips that you want to see. There are a few different ways that clothes are sold online. You have standard retail, consignment, and resale. In standard retail, the inventory is owned by the retailer and typically sold at a reasonable markup, generally suggested by the manufacturer. Now, the retailer decides when markdown happen on these pieces, typically around the season changing. Resale sites can fall into two different categories: marketplace and retail. Marketplace allows the seller, sometimes that might be you, to post their clothes on their site for whatever price they want, and in turn, the marketplace will collect a fee for the transaction. Resale retail sites will generally own the inventory outright like normal retail, but they usually obtain it on the secondhand market, offering a fast and easy way for sellers to unload their unwanted clothing, albeit for a very, very low price. These places usually have some type of physical location, whether it be brick and mortar store or a warehouse to which you, the seller, would ship the goods. Consignment is similar to resale, but instead of assuming the risk of owning the actual inventory, they offer a place similar to the resale marketplace, but they do all the legwork for the seller, which includes housing, listing, taking pictures, selling, and shipping the product, as well as dealing with returns. In exchange, they take a much larger portion of the sale. So now that we've covered some of the key differences in the different types of retail, how do you navigate those things? Well, before we get into that, would you consider maybe tapping that like button for me? When I'm shopping for designer pieces, the first places I usually head to are my favorite resale and consignment sites. It's a great way to get gently used and sometimes even brand new products for great prices. Now, I'm gonna group resale and consignment together, as generally tips work well for both, but there are some things that are specific to resale and there are some things that are specific to consignment. First things, start by setting up accounts on these sites. Now, in doing that, I would recommend you set up a spam email account, as they do tend to send a lot of emails and the frequency is crazy. It will bog down your main email inbox. Now, most sites are gonna have an option to save your favorites as well as get notified when there are markdowns or new products that come onto the site. Setting up an account also allows you to automatically filter the site for your sizes. So when you get on, you can just click one button and you're automatically into everything that's available in your size. Make sure you check these sites daily. They're always updating with new products always coming in, going out. You can also check for discounts on the things that you've been watching. Probably one of the first things that I do on a day-to-day basis is check The Real, which is one of my favorite consignment shops and one of the places I shop a lot. And honestly, I mention it a lot on my channel and kind of the inspiration for this video. I actually check it multiple times a day, as they're constantly adding new stuff as it comes in. And something that you may have favorited, you may have been eyeing that sold, might come back in stock. Now, when dealing with resale sites, there are some solid ones like GRAILED and Vestiaire Collective, question mark, am I pronouncing that right? Now, these sites will offer some form of digital authentication, as well as a money-back guarantee to help minimize scamming and fakes. Now, this is not to say that any of this is perfect, so you do want to be careful, but it's still a added layer of protection so you can feel a little bit more comfortable about spending your money on these sites. Now, GRAILED and Vestiaire Collective are marketplace style sites that just happen to focus on designer clothing, and so they have those added protections. But what about sites like Depop, Mercari, Poshmark, the like? Well, those you want to be a little bit more careful, as for the most part, they don't offer any authentication. I know there are some cases where they do offer it, but as a whole, just think of them as not doing it. And in that case, you want to be very, very careful. Now, they do have their own form of buyer protection, in that you as a buyer have a small window in which you can inspect the item, and if it is not as detailed in the listing, you can file a claim. Now make sure you read all listings very carefully. Now sellers down in the description should be detailing all flaws and issues to help provide you some better insight about the condition of what it is you're trying to buy and supplement the photos. Those things that are tough to see in camera phone photos, which oftentimes the photos are. Now you should also be looking for keywords like authentic, dupes, and reps. Now I would avoid dupes and reps. I know there's a big conversation in the zeitgeist about dupes and reps. Not necessarily for me. I'd rather buy the real deal or just get something else that's cheaper as opposed to wearing fakes, but I'm not here to judge somebody for wearing fakes. We all do what we got to do to handle our budget. It's just not for me. Now for sites that don't offer any authentication or buyer protection, make sure you do your research when considering an item from that type of marketplace. Now remember, as I was saying earlier, no authentication process is perfect. You still have to be careful. Read over seller reviews from previous sales. Look to see what other buyers are saying about them. Look to see how many stars they have. Look to see what they say about the shipping times, the packing, whether it was as described, what the communication was like. Obviously, if the seller looks shady, don't buy from them. I don't care how good the deal is. Hey, you vibing with this video? Hey man, do me a favor, yo. Check out some of my other videos. And if you vibing with them, go ahead and click that subscribe button and let them know you fox with your boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here making these videos for you. So do me a little favor, man. Go ahead and click that button. Now back to the video. Okay, so you can't find exactly what you're looking for on the secondhand market or resale sites, right? So you're like, man, I guess I'm just gonna have to go through retail. Well, I've got some tips for you when it comes to retail. Now you've got your usual suspects, the big boys like Saks Fifth Avenue, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, like all of those guys. And then you have your indies like Essence and In Clothing and the like. But what you might be missing is those one-off European boutiques. Now me personally, I usually find them through Google searches, mostly when I search for very specific things, like very specific products. For example, if I'm searching for a Rick Owens Geo basket, it will usually pop up a number of different results and I will click on them and see what looks legit to me. Now, shops like Sugar, SVD, and Bernard and Deli are a few small European boutiques that I have personally used to order things from. I found them to be a little bit less expensive than some of the North American retailers. Now, they usually feature a very tightly curated collection of pieces in very small quantities. The shipping is often express and free 99, and due to things like currency conversion and being closer to the country of origin, their inventory can be a few $100s less than what you would get at stateside. I found that a lot of those sites often offer a first-time buyer's coupon as well, so you could save an extra few bucks on the back end that way as well. And that ties back to my very first tip. Go ahead and create an account on the site so you can save your favorites. Now, before you buy, I would definitely make sure you do some research. Research is key when you're trying to do this. Make sure you look around for a few reviews. I look around for reviews when I'm shopping for sites that I'm not too familiar with, even if they do look legit. I like to look not only on like Trustpilot, for example, but I also like to look at Reddit and Facebook for reviews as well. And sometimes you can even find reviews on YouTube as well. They'll usually give you information on how long it took for the package to get to you, how it was packaged, what the customer service was like, what returns was like, was it authentic, should you feel comfortable buying from this place? So reviews are a great way to kind of ease your mind and let you know you're purchasing from a solid place. Now for my last tip, it is the thing that I think we all kind of know inherently, and that's sale season. Everybody loves a good sale. Come on, I had to turn up for that. Now, I think everybody pretty much knows about Essence's infamous sale season. Now, if you're able to wait it out long enough, you can get an incredible deal on that thing that you've been eyeing forever. But did you know that most stores are usually running their sale around the same time that Essence is? As stores start to prepare for the new incoming season and influx of clothing, of course they're marking down, discounting, trying to get rid of all that old product so they can have room for the new stuff. So it's time for you to go in and save you some money. So this is where having your favorite saved is going to come in handy. Make sure you have your favorites locked in, especially the more expensive items. It might be worth picking up some of the more affordable items early in sale season, as those will probably be the first to go, and waiting a little bit longer for those big ticket items to hit that rock bottom sale. Now, obviously you're probably going to be tracking them, and if you really want it and you seeing that inventory getting low, go ahead and jump in and get it. You're still getting a deal on it. Now, to go along with that last last tip, just make sure all throughout the season before sales season starts, you're building out your wish list just to make it a little bit easier for you to find what it is that you're looking for when sales season does kick off. I know that's happened to me before. I might save it in a cart and it disappears, but I didn't save it to my favorites or my wish list, and now I'm having a hard time finding it. So don't end up like me. Go ahead and save that wish list. And also, don't hesitate to create a bookmark folder of all your favorite sites to go to. Some of those more obscure sites that you find from the previous tips, you may forget the name of. So you want to have a nice folder, easy access, so you can just slide right down and just click right on it. Now make sure you keep an eye on your emails. Stores will notify you when the sales season start and when the discounts increase. Some stores will even send you direct links to items that you saved or put into your cart. Markdowns can generally start at 20 to 30%, and as the season progresses, they can reach as much as 70%. So that's why I said wait it out as long as you can, especially for those big ticket items to hit that 70% off mark, just so you're getting that big ticket item as low as you possibly can. Please don't just buy it because it's cheap. Make sure it's gonna fit inside of your wardrobe and closet. Yeah, I know that green needles cardigan is cheap, but how many times are you gonna wear that? If it's not gonna work for you, don't buy it. And last, but certainly the most important tip that I can give you, make a budget and stick to it. There's no need for you to risk your rent, your livelihood, anything to buy some damn clothes. These sales happen every season and most designers make pieces over and over again. So you're gonna have an opportunity to cop some version of that thing that you've been looking for forever. Just make sure you're doing the right thing for yourself, your budget, and your future. Buying clothes is a hobby. It's not a necessity. You can get necessary clothes for your body way cheaper other places. Well, that's it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this new video, this new editing. I'm trying something different here, so I hope you guys really enjoy it. And I hope you got something out of this video. Obviously, things can be a little bit more nuanced than what I was saying. This is just like a general overview of how I kind of go through the process. Like I said, it gets a little bit more in the weeds than this, but I wanted to give you at least a very simple starting guide, and then you can build on it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll like one of these too, so go ahead and click on them, stick around. Until next time, peace.